Some folks think that after 60, your joints are like old hinges on a barn door, rusty and squeaky no matter what you do. But the truth is, the good Lord gave our bodies the ability to heal and strengthen, even in our golden years. The secret? Sometimes it's not in a fancy pill or expensive cream, but in tiny, humble seeds you can hold in the palm of your hand. I've seen it with my own eyes. People easing their arthritis pain and walking a bit straighter, all thanks to a few natural treasures you can sprinkle over your breakfast. The sound of gravel under your boots might be nice on a country road, but you sure don't want to hear it every time you bend your knees. I remember back in my younger days, my grandpa always kept jars of seeds in the pantry. He'd toss them in cornbread, oatmeal, even salads. I used to think it was just one of his old farmer habits, like fixing fences before the sun came up. Turns out, science now proves what he already knew. Certain seeds can calm down that silent fire in your joints, help rebuild cartilage, and keep you moving without wincing at every step. And the best part? You don't need a chef's kitchen or deep pockets. These seeds are as simple and honest as a summer breeze on the porch. If you enjoy this kind of health wisdom, go ahead and share with a friend and give this video a thumbs up. It helps more folks like us find the truth. Number 5. Flax seeds. The smell of fresh baked bread in my mama's kitchen could wrap around you like a warm quilt on a cold morning. She had this way of tossing ground flax seeds into the dough without saying a word about it. I just thought she was making the bread look different. Maybe trying something new to keep us kids interested. Truth was, she knew something I didn't, that these tiny brown specks carried omega-3 fatty acids, the kind that calm down the heat and swelling deep in the joints. If you've ever oiled a rusty gate and watched it swing smooth again, that's how it feels when inflammation steps back in your knees, hips, and even your fingers. Every slice of that bread was her way of keeping us strong, long before the word arthritis even meant anything to me. Nowadays, my flax seeds live in a glass jar right next to the coffee pot, where I can't forget them. Most mornings, before the roosters even had a say, I'm at the counter stirring a heaping spoon into my oatmeal, watching those little seeds vanish into the creamy mix. No strange taste, no gritty crunch, just a quiet boost in my body before the day gets busy. I've noticed my hands don't puff up like they used to after pruning the rose bushes, and my knees don't holler so loud when I'm carrying in groceries. It's not a miracle overnight change, but it's steady, like the slow turn of seasons, and that's the kind of change that sticks. Flax seeds have been around a long, long time, long before we started putting fancy labels on food. Back in ancient Egypt, they wove flax fibers into linen for clothes and ropes, trusting its strength and flexibility. There's a kind of poetry in that, because that's exactly what our joints need, strength to bear the weight and flexibility to keep moving without pain. People back then might not have talked about omega-3s or anti-inflammatory properties, but they knew it was good, and sometimes wisdom comes wrapped in the simplest things. For anyone wondering how to start, it's easier than you think. Buy them whole, grind them up in a coffee grinder, and store the powder in the fridge so it stays fresh. A sprinkle over yogurt, a swirl into soup, even hidden in pancake batter. There's no wrong way to do it. I like to think of it as seasoning my day with health, one little scoop at a time. When you're past 60, you learn it's not the big, drastic changes that keep you going. It's the small, faithful ones you can actually stick with. I thank the Lord that I didn't overlook these seeds when I first read about them. They've been a quiet blessing, the kind you don't brag about, but you sure do notice when climbing the porch steps feels easier. Maybe it's not enough to turn back the clock, but it sure makes the ticking sound a whole lot softer. Number 4, chia seeds. Back when I was a boy, my Uncle Ray used to keep a jar of strange little black and white seeds on the counter. I thought they were bird food, and once I even tried feeding them to the chickens. He laughed and told me, "Son, these aren't for the birds. They're for keeping an old man's bones and joints working." Turns out, he was ahead of his time. Chia seeds soak up liquid like a sponge and form a soft gel, and when you eat them, they help keep the cartilage in your joints cushioned and your bones holding on to that precious calcium. It's almost like giving your knees and hips their own shock absorbers. Even the way they swell in water reminds me of how our bodies can still hold life and vitality if we give them the right fuel. In my own kitchen now, There's always a jar of chia seeds on the shelf right above the flour. I'll sprinkle them over my cereal, mix them into pancake batter, or stir them into a glass of almond milk before bed. By morning, that milk turns into a thick pudding, and it feels like I'm starting the day with a treat instead of a chore. My morning walks used to be shorter because my ankles would stiffen up, but ever since I made chia a habit, I notice I'm lasting longer on the trail. It's like my joints are better oiled, and I don't have to think about every step. I can just enjoy the fresh air and the sound of the creek. The funny thing is, chia seeds aren't new at all. Long before they were sprinkled over fancy smoothies on the internet, the Aztecs carried them on long journeys as a source of strength and stamina. They even called them running food. I like that, because after 60, we might not be sprinting down the field anymore, but we still need to keep moving, keep going, keep chasing the simple joys of life. I figure if they kept warriors strong hundreds of years ago, they can help me keep up with my grandkids in the yard today. For anyone new to chia, the trick is to let them soak. If you toss them straight into a drink or yogurt, they're fine, but letting them rest in liquid for a few hours makes them gentler on the stomach and easier for your body to use. You can mix them into soup, bake them into muffins, or just let them sit in water with a squeeze of lemon for a refreshing drink. It's a seed that doesn't ask for much, just a little time to bloom, and in return, it gives back in ways you can feel with every step you take. I thank God for simple foods like this that remind us health doesn't always come in a pill bottle. Some of the best remedies have been hiding in plain sight all along, sitting in a jar on a kitchen shelf, waiting for us to notice. And when I see that jar of chia seeds in the morning light, I'm reminded that even small habits can help carry us further than we think. Number 3, pumpkin seeds. The sound of pumpkin seeds hitting the baking sheet in my mother's kitchen was one of those little signs that autumn had truly arrived. After carving jack-o'-lanterns with us kids, she'd wash those seeds, sprinkle them with a pinch of salt, and toast them until the whole house smelled warm and nutty. Back then, it was just a tasty snack to enjoy while the wind rattled the windows. I had no idea those crunchy little bites were loaded with magnesium, zinc, and other minerals our bodies lean on to keep bones strong and joints able to bear the load of everyday life. Years later, when I read that magnesium helps muscles relax and zinc supports tissue repair, I thought of Mama's old baking tray and smiled. She'd been helping our health without even knowing it. Nowadays, I keep a small jar of pumpkin seeds, raw and unsalted, on the counter right next to the fruit bowl. I'll toss a handful into my trail mix or sprinkle them over green salad. Sometimes I roast them myself, slow and easy, with a drizzle of olive oil and a dusting of smoked paprika. It's not just about the flavor. It's about giving my joints the minerals they need to keep me moving without that bone-deep ache that used to greet me every time I stood up from my favorite chair. I notice that after a week or so of snacking on them regularly, my knees don't complain as loudly when I climb the porch steps, and my grip feels a little steadier when I'm holding the garden shears. Pumpkin seeds have quite the history. Ancient Native American tribes treasured them for their nutrition, often grinding them into a paste or eating them straight from pumpkin. They saw them as a gift from the earth, dense with energy, rich in what the body needs to endure the changing seasons. It's humbling to think that what kept families strong through cold winters hundreds of years ago can still give us strength today, whether it's for chasing a runaway grandchild or carrying groceries into the house without feeling winded. There's a kind of connection across time when you eat something that has been valued for generations. For those who've never made them a habit, pumpkin seeds are easy to fit into your day. They don't spoil quickly, they travel well, and they don't require cooking unless you want that roasted flavor. You can toss them into bread dough, blend them into smoothies, or just enjoy a small handful while watching the sunset. The important thing is consistency. Your body needs those minerals coming in regularly if you want to keep the gears running smooth. Think of it like watering a garden. One big soaking won't do much, but a little bit each day makes all the difference. I thank the Lord for these small but mighty seeds. They remind me that blessings often come in humble packages, waiting for us to take notice. Every time I bite into that satisfying crunch, I'm reminded that taking care of these old bones doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as enjoying a snack that's been around longer than any of us. Number 2, sesame seeds. The first time I noticed sesame seeds wasn't on a health food shelf. It was on top of a golden hamburger bun at the county fair. I remember the smell of grilled meat drifting through the air, and those tiny seeds scattered like freckles across the bread. Back then, I didn't give them a second thought. But years later, I learned these little dots are rich in calcium, copper, and antioxidants that help protect and repair cartilage, the very stuff that keeps our joints from grinding together like ungreased gears. It's strange how something so small can carry such weight in keeping us moving without pain. These days, I keep a small jar of sesame seeds right by the stove. Most mornings when I make my oatmeal or a slice of whole grain toast, I sprinkle a spoonful over the top. Sometimes, I'll toast them lightly in a dry skillet. The smell alone is enough to make the kitchen feel warm and inviting. That nutty aroma is like a promise that my body is getting what it needs for another day of gardening, walking, or wrestling with the stubborn lid of a pickle jar. My elbows used to click and ache after a long afternoon of yard work, but with sesame in my routine, they seem more forgiving. Sesame seeds have been treasured for thousands of years, especially in Middle Eastern and Asian cooking. Ancient Babylonian women ate them with honey to keep their strength, and in China, they were considered a symbol of immortality. I'm not saying a sprinkle of sesame will make us live forever, but it's worth noticing how cultures that lived long, active lives often included them in daily meals. Sometimes the wisdom of the past lines up perfectly with modern science. And that's a rare and wonderful thing. If you want to start adding sesame seeds to your meals, you don't need a complicated recipe. Toss them into salads, stir them into homemade bread, or sprinkle them over roasted vegetables. If you're feeling adventurous, grind them into a paste with a little olive oil to make your own tahini. It's simple, satisfying, and gives you a way to sneak joint-strengthening minerals into your food without changing your favorite flavors. The best part? They're inexpensive, last a long time, and don't take up much space in your pantry. I thank God for how the smallest things in life often make the biggest difference. Every time I see those tiny seeds tumble out of the jar, I'm reminded that good health doesn't have to be loud or flashy. It can be quiet, steady, and faithful, just like the way we take care of the ones we love. And that's something worth keeping on the table every single day. Number 1, sunflower seeds. The sight of a tall sunflower in full bloom always makes me smile. It's like watching the sun itself grow from the earth, big, bright, and full of life. As a boy, I'd pull the dried heads off the stalk at the end of summer and crack the seeds open with my teeth, spitting shells into the grass while the crickets sang. Back then, it was just a game, but now I know those seeds are rich in vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant that helps reduce inflammation and stiffness in the joints. It's almost as if each seed carries a little piece of summer's warmth, ready to chase away the cold ache of arthritis. These days, I keep a bag of sunflower seeds in the pantry. Not the salted kind that leave your lips dry, but raw, shelled seeds I can toss into just about anything. I'll sprinkle them over a fresh salad, stir them into yogurt, or mix them into homemade granola. Sometimes I roast them lightly with a touch of olive oil and rosemary, filling the house with a smell so good the grandkids come running. I've noticed that when I snack on them regularly, my shoulders don't complain as much after trimming hedges, and my hands stay a bit more nimble on cold mornings. Sunflower seeds have been cherished for centuries, especially by Native American tribes who use them for food, oil, and even dye. They saw the sunflower as a plant that followed the light, turning its face toward the sun each day. I like to think there's a lesson there for us, keeping our bodies pointed toward what's good, nourishing, and healing no matter how old we get. In a way, eating these seeds feels like carrying forward that same tradition of strength and resilience. If you're looking to add sunflower seeds into your day, you'll find they fit anywhere. Blend them into smoothies, bake them into bread, or just keep a small jar handy for snacking. They're affordable, easy to store, and they travel well. Perfect for keeping in your bag during a long day out. The key is to choose unsalted, raw, or lightly roasted seeds, so you get all the benefits without extra sodium sneaking in. Small daily habits like this can help you keep moving and living with less of that stiff, nagging pain. I thank the Lord for how something as small as a sunflower seed can bring such comfort to these old bones. Every bite reminds me of warm summer days and the simple joys of life. Proof that health can come from the earth's own pantry, given freely for those willing to reach out and take it. And for that, I'm deeply grateful. If you've stuck with me through this journey from flax to sunflower, you've probably noticed a common thread. God has put some of the best medicine right in plain sight, not locked away in a doctor's office, not costing a fortune at the pharmacy, but sitting there in your pantry, waiting for you to scoop it up. Seeds may be small, but the Lord made them powerful, packing them with the nutrients our bodies crave, especially when the years start adding up. I've seen it in my own life. Less stiffness in the morning, longer walks without having to stop and stretch, and the simple joy of knowing I'm helping my joints instead of just enduring the pain. It's never too late to start. I've known folks who made changes well into their 70s and felt the difference in just a few weeks. You don't have to overhaul your whole life. Just weave these seeds into the meals you already enjoy. A sprinkle on your cereal, a handful in your salad, a spoonful in your soup. Before you know it, it becomes second nature. And when your knees bend a little easier or your hands open that stubborn jar without a struggle, you'll know it's working. Not because someone told you, but because you can feel it deep in your bones. Literally, there's also something comforting about preparing your food with intention. When I grind flax seeds in my oatmeal or stir chia into milk at night, I'm not just feeding my body. I'm making a promise to myself to keep moving, to keep living, and to enjoy the years God's given me. We may not control every ache or every diagnosis, but we can choose how we treat this one body we've been entrusted with. That choice, made daily, adds up to something bigger than we realize. I'll say this, though. While seeds can be a blessing, they're not a cure-all. If you've got arthritis or other joint problems, it's always wise to talk with your doctor before making big changes to your diet. These little powerhouses work best as part of a balanced approach, alongside whatever treatments or advice your healthcare provider gives you. Think of them as helpers on your team, not the whole team by themselves. So here's my prayer for you. May you find joy in small habits, strength in each step, and peace in knowing you're doing what you can with what you've got. Life after 60 isn't about slowing down. It's about finding better ways to keep going. Take care of yourselves, enjoy the blessings in your kitchen, and God bless y'all.